My name is Phillip, and I'm interested in studying the environmental factors influencing the aquatic invertebrate communities of Appalachian streams in Maryland. These streams have been historically impacted by logging and acid mine drainage, so it's important to recognize what environmental factors are currently influencing these communities, especially since increased environmental regulations have led to cleaner waters and better habitat for rare species. So I did 2 study sites, one last year, one this year. The current study site is Murley Run, which is 5 miles northwest of Oakland. And second study site is Big Run Watershed. That was done last year, and that's about 9 miles southeast of here, southwest of Frostburg. So for my methodology, I did water chemistry, I did pH, nitrates, iron, sulfates, conductivity, and then I did a bunch of physical measurements like sediment load, sinuosity, flow. I collected aquatic invertebrates along 25-meter transects throughout random portions of the watershed, and then I identified them to at least the genus level, taxonomic level, and whenever possible to the species level. And then I analyzed the data using Program R, Package Vegan, in order to get the ordinations and the community level statistics. I did 2 rarefaction curves in Excel. So as for the results, diversity-wise, both sites were similar. Between 2 generic indexes of diversity are the Shannon's Diversity Index and Simpson's Index of Diversity. There's no statistical difference or significant statistical difference between the two, and neither was species evenness. But in comparing the 2 communities, I used Thorson's similarity coefficient, which compares presence-absence of organisms. And so on a scale of 0 to 1, 0 being least similar to, or 1 being most similar, these sites are extremely dissimilar. And I kind of added to that fact by using Bray-Curtis's dissimilarity index, and that compares abundance of organisms. And so it's the opposite. 0 is the most similar, 1's least similar. And so with a score of 0.78, they're not similar at all. In order to figure out how these sites are influenced and what makes the difference between the 2, I ordinated them using Program R, Package Vegan. And one of the ordinations showed which aquatic invertebrates tended to follow which sites, and most of dragonflies and stoneflies tended to be in Murley Run, while mayflies and several of the coniferans were in the Big Run watershed. And then when I added in environmental factors, the only significant influence was pH. So the reason for that is the underlying geography or geology of Big Run is limestone. So any acid rain inputs are buffered almost immediately, while in Murley Run, the underlying geology is sandstone, which has very little buffering capacity. So the average pH in Murley Run was about 5, while in Big Run it was about 7.5. So, like I said, all the other environmental factors were not significant enough to influence which communities were clustered where. And then I did 2 rarefaction curves, 1 for each watershed, to determine if I sampled enough. And because the, I forget what it's called, but when the line evens out is actually at the 10,000 point, I didn't sample enough. I needed at least 500 more samples. So, but yeah.
That's awesome. Cam, do you have any questions? You said you found a endangered species, or at least a rare?
State rare. It's ranked in S2, so not highly rare.
And that was in Murley?
What?
That was Murley?
Yeah, that was in Murley. There's 2 species or subspecies of this species. There's Cordial gastroblica obliqua, which is the one that I caught, and it's Chordulagastra obliqua fasciata, which is the super rare one, which hasn't been seen in Maryland since, I think, the 1970s. So this is the S2 version, the other one's the S1.